Hello everyone, and I'm Autobot Sonic, a Telltale gamer, bringing latest on Telltale games, Transformers, and more. So I hope all you guys had a Merry Christmas or just Happy Holidays for anyone who celebrates something other than Christmas. I know for sure I definitely did, even though I'm recording this on the 22nd, 3 days before Christmas, but whatever. I'm sure it's gonna be a great Christmas every because that's always my favorite holiday. But anyway, so we come to a rather sudden end with the whole Starscream arc that we've been building this entire arc of Cyberverse with, season of Cyberverse with so far. We ended this arc a lot earlier than I thought we would, but anyway, yeah, this is my review of Transformers Cyberverse Season 2, Episode 12.
I am the Allspark.
I'm sorry, guys, but I just couldn't. Literally, I was handed this opportunity on a silver platter. Literally, after I did this with Bring Me the Spark Optimus Prime, I'm literally just gonna be doing this every single time the episode's title is mentioned is spoken in the episode. You know that I'm gonna be putting the actual clip from that episode in my review. It just has to happen. And the fact that Starscream says it with such flamboyancy in this episode, I just absolutely love it. But yeah, so this is my review of Transformers Cyberverse Season 2, Episode 12, and this marks, to my knowledge, this is the end of the Starscream arc, which is really interesting considering we've still got 6 episodes left of this season. So what exactly does Boulder Media have in mind for these last 6 episodes? Are we going to finally see Bludgeon, since we clearly know now that Bludgeon wasn't working as a mole for Starscream? Does Bludgeon have some sort of ulterior motive plan that we're going to see him become the main villain for these last 6 episodes? I don't know, but we're going to just go ahead and dive into this episode. For overall, my first thoughts are, honestly, I feel like after building up Starscream as this big villain for the past 11 episodes, this ending is a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, not gonna lie. So I'm not exactly sure, like, it's pretty disappointing in my opinion, but it does have a bunch of good stuff in it as well. So we're gonna go ahead and see everything this episode did right and what it did wrong. So episode 12 starts off presumably shortly after the events of episode 11, Infinite Vendetta, which seems to be par for the course this season, with every episode taking place just very shortly after the last episode, with this time now presumably after the end of the last episode where Jetfire had told Optimus where Starscream and the Allspark are. Optimus decides now it's time for the Autobots to go ahead and charge Starscream's base and take the Allspark back from him. So he brings Bumblebee, Windblade, Grimlock, Jetfire, and Cheetor along with him to take down Starscream, and already I'm starting to see some problems here. Now, if this is like Optimus, if this is your big plan to go ahead and take down Starscream, who is presumably the big bad for the season, wouldn't you this kind of want all hands on deck for this episode? I mean, I understand maybe having some backup for some stay at the arc for support like Wheeljack, but you have a bunch of other characters who could easily fight well. You have RC, Prowl, Rack and Ruin, Hot Rod, all these characters, you could easily have them take part in this fight, and we've seen all these characters in like this amount of characters in a big bite before, back with episode 1 of this season with Sea of Tranquility. We got Rack and Ruin, Prowl, Hot Rod, Bumblebee, Wheeljack, Windblade, Grimlock, Optimus. Pretty much every main Autobot was involved in this fight. So with this presumably being the big final fight against Starscream, why are you excluding so many Autobots? I mean, I can understand maybe Wheeljack and maybe Rack and Ruin stay back, but what about Prowl and RC and Hot Rod? It just feels odd in my opinion. And the same thing happens with Decepticons, who they run into later on when they get to the Allspark chamber. They end up running into Megatron, who has brought along Shockwave, Shadow Striker, Lockdown, Clobber, and Skybite. And again, why is Megatron if this is Megatron's big push as well to take down Starscream and get the Allspark back, knowing he'd probably run into Optimus and his Autobots there, why wouldn't he just bring all of the Decepticons? Bring Soundwave. Why isn't his, like, Soundwave, who is the person he trusts the most, presumably there? Why is he not there? Why isn't, Bludgeon there? Because, I mean, obviously we know Bludgeon's a mole for someone. If he's not working for Starscream, he's working for someone else, but Megatron doesn't know that. Why doesn't he bring Bludgeon along? We don't see him, we don't see Soundwave, and it just feels weird for these big characters to be excluded from such a monumental, like, event in this story. It just feels really awkward in my opinion. As the two of them get ready to fight though, their fight is interrupted by Starscream, who emerges from a ground bridge, and he's totally blue, like I don't mean blue as in like sad, but actually like his whole body is literally like a blue outline, similar to how Bumblebee looked when he briefly interacted with the Allspark back in Season 1, and as many characters like Optimus, Megatron, Jetfire, and Skybyte, how they appeared when they merged, like, got their Allspark armor. He looks like that, but his whole body's black and has the blue outlines from the Allspark, and this is because Starscream is finally merged with the Allspark, hence the name of this episode. So, as we saw back in the beginning of this episode, Asset Storm finally completed calibrating Vector Sigma so that it could unlock the full power of the Allspark there before giving Starscream unlimited power with it. So Starscream uses this to merge with the Allspark and basically gain unlimited power from it. And now that he has the power to enact his genocide plan, he unsurprisingly decides to start with this by killing all of his Seekers. Now, we don't get confirmation if Thundercracker, Novastorm, and the rest of the Seekers are all dead. The last we see them is in the very beginning of this episode with Starscream pulling out all of their sparks from their bodies. We don't see, like, their sparks completely get taken out of their bodies. We don't see their dead bodies later on in this episode. They just kind of disappear for the rest of this episode. So, unless they come back later on this season, I'm going to say that they're all dead, but who knows? Maybe they'll be coming back later on this season. Who knows? But anyway, Starscream emerges from the ground bridge just as Megatron and Optimus are getting ready to fight, and obviously Starscream is happy with this, that he can just kill everyone here instead of just having to go to the Ark and Nemesis and kill the Autobots and Decepticons individually. But at the same time, Starscream, do you not realize you're missing a couple key players here, like Hot Rod, RC, Soundwave, Bludgeon, just to name a few? But again, this is just a problem I have with this. And so Starscream basically uses his power to the Allspark to immobilize everyone, just like he did with all of his Seekers at the beginning of this episode. And basically he kind of taunts them all, just stating that that's how powerful he is, and that he sort of mocks Megatron despite how strong he is, that he still isn't strong enough to beat Starscream. And it seems as though he's trying to goad Megatron into begging for mercy from Starscream, though surprisingly Megatron's just not having it. He like even taunts Starscream, that's saying that just because he's Starscream, he's gonna screw up because, well, and first off, when he says that, I'm like, damn, Starscream, I want to hug you, because you did not deserve this abuse from Megatron constantly. But at the same time, I gotta give Megatron respect for not caving into Starscream's, like, power. Even with Starscream having the upper hand situation, Megatron still acts like Starscream's gonna mess this up somehow, which he kind of does to a degree, but it just seems to come out of nowhere, and I'll get to that. So anyway, Starscream realizes he's not going to get to Megatron and have him beg for mercy, so he opts to just go ahead and kill everyone now. So he starts to remove everyone's sparks, even Cheetor's to a bit, but even Cheetor actually manages to resist it more than any other Autobot or Decepticon, mostly because of the fact that he was created from the Allspark and is essentially part of the Allspark. And so he tries to bring this up to Starscream, saying that he really has the Allspark inside him, but then Starscream claims otherwise, saying that don't worry guys, there's only going to be one more of these this video, I promise. But anyway, after Starscream makes his proclamation to Cheetor, he manages to eventually get him to get his spark ripped out too. And just as everyone's sparks are getting ripped out, Optimus is the last one to not get his spark ripped out. And here's where my biggest problem with this episode comes in. That essentially, the way they defeat Starscream is a big whopping Deus Ex Machina from Optimus with the Matrix of Leadership. And this is something I was hoping that wasn't the case, that it would be some sort of big battle between all the Autobots and Decepticons eventually working together to take down Starscream. But no, it's just Optimus whooping out the Matrix Leadership, making a big prayer to Primus, and then launching an energy beam full of the Matrix of Leadership's power into Starscream's chest, forcing the Allspark out of his body, and that just causes him to fall unconscious. Same with Optimus, who is presumably in like a comatose state after that. The fact that Starscream, who is this big character, had to be defeated by a literal Deus Ex Machina that wasn't mentioned at all for the past 11 episodes, I don't know, just to me, that is incredibly disappointing in my opinion, and is so far the only point of this entire season that I've been disappointed. And I mean, good on Hasbro, I mean, Builder Media, for this being the only time I've been disappointed, but to have this be the big finale to the Starscream arc that you've been setting up for the past 11 episodes, to have your ending result into, oh, nothing else can beat him, we'll just have Optimus pull up some ancient Prime, power him up, and take down Starscream. that's it. I thought it would be cool. Maybe like Cheetor did something cool and take him down. Maybe just some sort of joint combination thing with Cheetor, Bumblebee, and Windblade doing something to take down Starscream. The fact that Optimus does it with ability that we've never seen before is just incredibly disappointing in my opinion. But I digress. Anyway, after Optimus ends up defeating Starscream, if you can even call it that, Megatron is the first to wake up amongst all the Decepticons and Autobots and notices that the Allspark is now out of Starscream's body, so he goes ahead and takes it, planning to take it back to Nemesis with him. So he goes ahead and fire at Optimus and kill him when he's knocked out, but Grimlock jumps in front of the way, protecting Optimus, and then gets into a fight with him. By this point, all the other Autobots and Decepticons, sans Optimus, are up, and they're all doing their own fights against other people. We get some pretty interesting fights here that I do gotta say are pretty good. We have Bumblebee protects Optimus while Windblade battles Shadow Striker. We have Jetfire battling Skybite and Grimlock versus Megatron. Shockwave is just kind of in his own thing, watching the whole fight, but also dealing with all the Scraplets that are attacking him and all the other Decepticons and Autobots. Cheetor is there too, making a run for the Allspark when Grimlock causes Megatron to drop it at some point. And while Cheetor's battling the Scraplets, Shockwave manages to get together a bunch of like reprogramming chips that he put together back in Secret Science and attaches them to all the Scraplets that are in the Allspark chamber, and that causes him to take control of all of them and focus their attack on the Autobots instead. So now Cheetor's having to deal with all the Scraplets while he goes to get the Allspark from Megatron, while Grimlock's still fighting Megatron, and Windblade's battling Shadow Striker, Bumblebee's guarding Optimus, and it's just like absolute chaos. And even like it gets to the point where Jetfire and Skybite, when they fight, their battle is causing the Allspark chamber like to start caving in on itself, which is, I think, is a nice little callback to the last episode of how Jetfire and Skybite seem to have basically leave a destructive wake wherever they fight, which seems to be in line with the backstory that Jetfire and Skybite told all the Autobots and Decepticons back in episode 11, how they destroyed countless star systems. So good on Boulder Media for sticking true to that aspect of Jetfire and Skybite's relationship. But anyway, as they're fighting, Grimlock seems to be doing most of the heavy lifting in this fight. Grimlock's keeping his own with Megatron, even though Megatron is evenly matched with Grimlock. So it's nice to see that it's not just a total curb stomp battle where Grimlock's just absolutely whooping Megatron. But again, Grimlock just doing everything here. There's this point where Windblade battles Shadow Striker, and Windblade takes down Shadow Striker on her own, thankfully. But I think it's not, it might be when Cheetor's battling the Scraplets, he manages to get all of them except for a few that Grimlock saves him from. So Cheetor manages to grab the Allspark and make a retreat with it, while Megatron knocks away Grimlock and tries to go after Windblade and Bumblebee, who are protecting Optimus. So at this point, the cave is all falling apart, where the Allspark chamber is, and there's a huge chasm that opens in the ground, separating Bumblebee, Windblade, and Optimus from Megatron, who rolls up in his tank form, getting ready to shoot at all three of them. But just before he can, Grimlock ends up saving him by biting down on Megatron's tank barrel and throwing him down into the chasm, where Megatron presumably falls to his death. But of course, with this Megatron, this isn't going to be how Megatron dies, so I'm sure Megatron's going to come back either next episode or later on by the end of the season for sure. And then even Skybite ends up getting knocked down there as well when Jetfire's battling him. And again, it's not Jetfire that does the final blow to Skybite. It's Grimlock, who again just bites Skybite's tail and tosses him into the chasm as well. And it doesn't make sense why Skybite would be able to fall in there, since his ult mode as a flying shark, he can just fly back up out of the chasm. So why does Skybite fall down? I don't know. Maybe that's just to explain how maybe he'll get Megatron out of there. But the fact that Grimlock essentially is such a big part of this fight, he kind of undermines other characters in this fight. For example, Bumblebee does nothing other than cover Optimus this whole fight. Windblade gets some good stuff for battling Shadow Striker, and Jetfire battles Skybite for a lot of it, but it just feels odd that Grimlock is the one who ends up taking down Skybite and not Jetfire. That feels wrong to me, in my opinion. But anyway, after that, all the Autobots escape with the Allspark, but after they do, Windblade notices that Bumblebee is missing. So we think that maybe Bumblebee is gone missing, that this is what the last 6 episodes are going to be about, finding wherever Bumblebee went. But no, Bumblebee comes out just like a few seconds later, carrying the comatose body of Starscream. Grimlock is confused by why Bumblebee would save Starscream, but Bumblebee explains that Optimus would want Starscream to face justice for his crimes, which of course, yeah, that's that's Optimus for you, so I'm glad that they did that. So Optimus and, well, Grimlock carries Optimus while Windblade, Bumblebee, Cheetor, and take Starscream and all of them head back to the Ark to presumably detain Starscream and try to figure out a way to revive Optimus. And so that was my review of Transformers Cyberverse Power to Spark Season 2, Episode 12.
I am the Allspark.
Oh, I'm gonna miss him saying it already, but hopefully we won't have to. It'll be a while before we get to another episode where the title's name is said in the episode. If I had to rate this episode, unfortunately, I have to give it probably a 7 out of 10. Honestly, this might be, as flashy as it was, it's up there with The Visitor as the worst episode of Cyberverse this season, which it really hurts me to do this because this was an episode I was so looking forward to, that this was going to be the big culmination of all the Autobots and Decepticons fighting each other, Starscream's big plan to enact like a genocide on all the Autobots and Decepticons. But the fact that it's solved so quickly with a Deus Ex Machina from Optimus, and then the rest of the fight is just Autobots versus Decepticons, where Bumblebee and Optimus do nothing, and Grimlock does most of the heavy lifting on the Autobot side. That just, to me, feels a little bit underwhelming in my opinion. But there are some good parts, like Windblade versus Shadow Striker, Jetfire versus Skybite, Grimlock versus Megatron, even Cheetor's whole, like, battle of Will versus Starscream in the beginning when Starscream's sucking out all their sparks. That's pretty cool. But also, what happened to Starscream Seekers? Last we saw, they were in the beginning of this episode getting their sparks ripped out by Starscream, though we don't see their dead bodies or any confirmation that they were killed in this episode. So are they dead? Were they in the Scraplets that Cheetor mercilessly slaughtered and Shockwave reprogrammed? Are they just knocked unconscious waiting to come back in the next episode? Who knows, but it's kind of a mess in my opinion, and honestly, I hope these next 6 episodes prove a better arc than whatever that the Starscream arc was supposed to be, because honestly, this climax was disappointing in my opinion. So that's going to be it for this video. I'll be back soon with episode 13, Escape from Earth, which hopefully is better than this one. If you like this video, you should like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Take it away, Bumblebee.
Bumblebee out.
And I might know what our future, but then you still control the past.